Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you 7 recipes for busy moms, and I'm also going to open up a little bit and talk about some motivation and encouragement for being a stewardess of your home and your kitchen, and I will share with you why I'm going to be talking about that in just a second. This morning, I'm starting the morning how I normally do by making a smoothie. That's my first recipe for busy moms because it's something that you can make early in the morning that's pretty appetizing to both yourself and your children, and you can throw a lot of stuff in there that they may not otherwise get throughout the day. You can put spinach, you can do, of course, fruit. I like to do frozen banana and Hawaiian fruit blend, which is mango, pineapple, strawberries, and I also put in fermented cod liver oil, quercetin, vitamin D drops, and I'm putting in a collagen peptides powder. And I'm going to talk to you about that powder first before diving into what I mentioned earlier. Getting a proper nutrition through our daily meals is something that I enjoy doing. Thinking about the highest quality protein, vegetables, carbohydrates, and kind of planning that out for my little family of 5 is something that I genuinely like to do. However, I'm aware that you cannot always get everything you need without any kind of supplementation. We do like to take vitamins, and I also really like to supplement with collagen peptides with hyaluronic acid and vitamin C. This collagen peptide powder is an advanced formula that includes hyaluronic acid for skin hydration, elasticity, and joint function, as well as vitamin C for immune health. The collagen peptides provide about 18 grams of protein per serving, and the formula has 0 grams of sugar, 0 carbs, 70 calories, and 120 milligrams of hyaluronic acid. Going into the fall cold season months, we are looking to get a little bit more vitamin C in our supplementation routine. In the formula, there are no sweeteners, no artificial colors, no artificial ingredients, no fillers, nothing other than just the collagen, hyaluronic acid, vitamin C. It is super pure, which is why we like this powder. Getting a good source of protein in the morning is also super important, and this collagen peptide powder is made from type 1 and type 3 bovine grass-fed collagen, and the formula between that and the hyaluronic acid and vitamin C delivers key amino acids, glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline in a research-based ratio to maximize your body's natural collagen production. Our body's production of collagen is diminished as we get older, so it's very important to keep supplementing with collagen. Since taking this product, we have seen good results with our hair and nails, and I notice the difference when I take this in the morning versus when I don't because of that extra protein, which I especially need now that I am breastfeeding, and I also took it when I was pregnant. It's really helpful to have a good start in the morning of protein, some vitamin C, hyaluronic acid. I like to put this in our morning smoothies. If you want to check out Naked's collagen advanced formula with hyaluronic acid and vitamin C, I will leave a link in the description below. So I want to start off with a Bible verse. This is Colossians 3:23 through 24. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for men. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. I want to share that Bible verse today as I make an orange chicken with salad. In light of recent tragic events that you probably know about if you're watching this video in real time, specifically the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I feel like our world is being brought closer to our roots of men and women having traditional roles in the household. I think that without going too deep into what happened, I will say that whether it was that tragic assassination or just simply war, terrorism, any major event where people die and people disagree, I think a lot of these issues can be cured through religion. And the reason for this is that when you know you are serving God, it's helpful to then know you're serving your spouse or your home or your children, or maybe just family members or friends. And when you are serving them, you then have purpose. And while this sounds really easy to understand, I don't think I personally understood what that really meant until I had children. I always knew that I wanted kids when I was little, but it didn't really happen for me until my mid to late 20s when I got married, and then a few years later when we first had kids. Looking back, I really wish that we would have had kids earlier, but it just wasn't happening at that time. And you obviously can't control that timing. But when I was working a corporate job and being a professional dancer, I did a lot of things that gave me purpose. But at that time, I felt like that purpose was really just keeping me busy. It was using my time. And that's a really good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. I feel like when you are busy and you are doing productive things, whether you're serving a job or you're a nurse serving patients or you're a performer or a theater actress, it doesn't matter. Whatever you are doing, as long as you are serving God and through serving God able to serve people, you generally have a pretty good purpose. And when you don't have that purpose, that is when things go wrong. And that's what we saw with this tragic event that I'm referring to. So I just want to remind you that every task in your home, because I think a lot of my viewers are homemakers, either full-time or part-time, or maybe you are back in the workforce now, but you used to be a stay-at-home mom, or maybe you want to become a stay-at-home mom, or maybe you're perfectly happy working both at home and for a job. But every task you do, big or small, is meaningful when offered to God. And you can rest assured, no matter how bad your day at work is, or no matter how frustrating, or maybe you feel like a failure even at home, you can rest assured that if you are doing it and offering it to God, you're doing it correctly. And that light will shine through you. Like I said earlier, this is an orange chicken recipe, and it's super easy to make with full grain flour. You can of course use regular flour too, but I like to sneak my whole grain freshly milled flour into this recipe because no one will know, it tastes exactly the same, and it is packed with more nutrition than just regular white flour. I have the recipe for this on the blog, theduvallhomestead.com, so I'll link it below. Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." And this is some encouragement for those weary days. Your work in the home will bear fruit. I think the reason that some people lack purpose is because success is hard, and sometimes happiness can be hard, and those are the things that we all crave. The less motivated sides of humanity tend to choose easy paths. They tend to want to sit and scroll their phones instead of getting up and starting a project, or watch a movie on the couch instead of exercising. I'm not saying any of these things are inherently bad, but if we make too many choices like that we know are not serving God or our family or us, we will not bear the fruit. If you don't plant the tree, you can't pick the apple. If you don't take the sourdough out, you don't get the sourdough bread. And sometimes these tasks are not that big. They're small, but you still have to do them. And it's a reminder that your work, no matter what you're doing, will bear the fruit, especially if you are doing it and offering it to God. These are sourdough chocolate cupcakes, and they're made with whole grain freshly milled flour, another recipe that it's really easy to swap into that whole grain flour. For these ones, I'm adding a buttercream frosting and some sprinkles. Peter 4:9-10 says, "Show hospitality to one another without grumbling. As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace." Here I am making hamburger patties. We were preparing for a birthday party the following week. So tonight, while we're having hamburgers for dinner, I thought I would just throw in a couple extra pounds of ground beef to make extra patties. In fact, we've been doing sliders recently because we have so many kids that we're always feeding. Whenever we have a party, we always have a lot of kids here, and sliders are better for their size anyway. My husband bought a hamburger patty maker, which has been a total game changer because I was just making them with my hands, and that works just fine. But if you're doing a lot of them, you should just get a press for the patties because then they'll be the perfect shape. These hamburger patties are made with our quarter cow that we have in our freezer. I love this beef from this cow. It's got a nice fat content, and I throw in barbecue sauce, seasonings, herbs, salt, pepper, egg. I also throw in freshly milled whole grain flour because that helps hold the patties together. On the side, I'm putting some sauteed cabbage. This is a quick and easy way to use up your cabbage. You just chop it up, heat up a skillet on medium or medium high, add some butter, and put your cabbage in there. It'll cook down really nicely, and then you just sprinkle it with a good amount of salt. It's so good. It's one of our favorite ways to enjoy cabbage this time of year. I am new to grilling. In fact, I was at someone else's house over the weekend and they were barbecuing, and I was talking to the guy grilling because I was like, teach me your ways. I'm really new to grilling. It's always been that I will make the hamburger patties, or I will prepare the corn, or I will prepare the meat or the veggies, and my husband grills it. Well, he still likes to barbecue, but there are times, now that we have 3 children, there are times when he has to take the other 2 kids out just so that I can prepare that food. So he has to take them out for a bike ride or whatever. And so I have realized it's time for me to learn how to barbecue, and it's just silly that I didn't know in the first place. So I'm trying to perfect the art of the hamburger on the barbecue. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there.
Really? Not
Today I'm taking out potatoes because I'm going to be making homemade gnocchi tomorrow. So one of the ways I like to make meal prep a little bit easier is I take a meal that would normally take me a long time to make, like a gnocchi, and I take some of the steps and I make them the day before or just whenever I have time. And then if I can freeze it, I'll freeze it or just keep it in the fridge for a couple of days. In this case, I'm going to roast the potatoes now because I have to get them roasted. They take about an hour and I have some free time, and I'll just pop them in the fridge and then take them out tomorrow to make the gnocchi. So that's just one less step. I'm also making a loaf of my sourdough bread here. This is 50% whole grain flour and 50% regular all-purpose. I do sprinkle in the all-purpose because of the nice crumb, the nice white fluffiness that it yields. But I'm happy that my family is happy with 50% whole grain because then they're still getting the nutrition of the whole grain, but they don't feel like the bread is too dense. Proverbs 31:27-28 says, "She watches over the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her." I love this one. I think that this is kind of what I embody when I think of myself and what I try to do. And I don't think I do it perfectly well a lot of the time, but whenever I look back on what I did that day or that week for my home, I'm usually pretty proud of it. But in the moment, it doesn't really feel as glorious and beautiful as some of these quotes make being a wife and a homemaker out to be. And I think that that is just simply because it is hard work. And when you're doing it for the Lord, you don't always reap the fruit immediately. And that's why it takes a special kind of person to do it. And going back to why I think that this is important for everybody is because if you are reaping your fruit and you're getting your fruit and you're reaping the benefits, you'll keep doing it. And so it's so sad when we see people in our world who lack the purpose, who don't have those benefits because they make really, really, really bad choices. And all you can do is pray that they learn how to get in that cycle of hard work, serving the Lord, serving your family, whatever it is, and reaping the benefits. And also understanding that if you don't have the benefit, because there's no guarantee that things you're going to do are going to work out perfectly every single time. Sometimes you do everything right and things don't work out, but you can't give up. You have to keep going and you have to forgive. And I think that is the hard part, and the part that I wanted to encourage you to keep going through in your homemaking today. I will leave you with one more quote from Ephesians 4:32. "Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you." Have you ever noticed it's so much easier to be nice to someone after they have already been nice to you? This cycle, although it might be hard to be the first one to be nice or to start the cycle, is so important to remember in our world. And when we see people who are not nice, it's also important to remember that it's probably because maybe somebody was not nice to them. I want to encourage women and men too to be the best you can be in your role. Women, be the best you can be at home. Men, be the best you can at gathering the food, whatever it is you do to provide for your family. Men and women, husband and wife, are a team. They're one flesh. When they work together, they can do so much better than when they try to compete at the same role. I hope that you got some cooking inspiration from this video, but also I hope your heart is a little bit warmer hearing some of these Bible verses during tumultuous times. I know there are a lot of them in our world, and I know as someone who is on the internet, sometimes we feel connected with these people that we don't even know just because we're watching their videos, and we feel like we get to step inside their house for a little bit and watch them cook. I hope you enjoy that about my channel, and also know that I'm also human who is imperfect and feels some of the same emotions that you do. But I hope that with hearing some of these verses, you feel encouraged and know that you're not alone in the fight to do what is right. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.